You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kits, and welcome to season 3 and episode number 58, if I am not mistaken, of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Wednesday, February 15th. I've just noticed that my lighting is horrible. I'm trying to fix that. 2023. The day will start off sunny, but rain is expected with a high of 10.
Yeah, this is unseasonably warm. Unseasonably warm.
Yes. The weather's not expected to go back to below zero until sometime Friday here at the Beaver Lodge. So once again, I can see my entire lawn, and this is very disconcerting. Good morning, Kit Bruce, Mabuhay, if I'm remembering correctly. Good morning, Kit Linda, Kit Pastor Gabe. Nice to see you again. How is wedded bliss? Good morning, Kit Ashley. Kit Linda M says, enjoy it while it lasts. The polar vortex is about to go crazy. I'm feeling a Prince song coming on now all of a sudden.
Let's go crazy.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to
celebrate this thing called
beaver,
life.
to celebrate this beaver and this grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, hey. And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Today, we have a Wednesday morning nibble for you, but first, let's take a moment to greet our show's fine and furry friend. Hello, Mr. Grizzly. We've talked a little bit before the show. Your mental health. Tell me about it.
Well, hey, Mr. Beaver. My mental health is, it's not 100%, but it's considerably better than it has been over the last few days. Don't know why. I have no idea why. And I'm not going to question it. It's just when it happens, you take it in stride and you move on. Feeling much better.
2 words that I could tell right away in your voice.
Well, I got a little bit more of a spring in my step today, feeling a little bit better about myself as a living, breathing human being. The self-loathing has kind of gone out the window. The sense of emptiness and despair is gone. I'm still not 100%, but I am feeling considerably better. And I did get a good night's sleep, so I think that helps. I think that helps a great deal. I got home from work at around 5:30. I worked a little bit later than normal yesterday. Walked in the door, lied down on the couch, and I was out like a light for a while.
Ooh.
I was really tired. Then I woke up around, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock, got something to eat, watched a little TV, and went back to bed. So I didn't even prep for the show until 5 a.m. this morning. Usually I do it the night before, right? Get everything all ready. I didn't do it till 5 a.m. So yeah, I was tired. I was tired.
Okay. Well, then we were on similar wavelengths because, well, yesterday, cleverly, we decided rather than having a romantic dinner, how about having a romantic lunch
Yeah, okay.
for Valentine's Day? So,
Avoid the rush, right?
well, not only avoid the rush, but it leaves the evening free.
Yes, yes. No commitment in the evening. You can just,
Yes.
do with it what you wish.
Yes, and we had the time, so we did that, and we went for some absolutely wonderful Indian food, and my beaver sweetie has a healthy appetite. Like every now and then, I think I'm living with a 13-year-old teenager who plays football sometimes. So we ordered the dinner for two, right where they have everything on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful food. But so much of it that I was basically a ball.
Yeah.
I was so round and full. And
I
we
love
get
Indian
home.
food.
Yeah. And we get home, like, and so I'm up to do the show, right? So early. So I'm up at about 6. Yesterday I was up early at 5:30, and I'm sitting here after lunch, and we're about 3 in the afternoon. I fell asleep right here for about an hour. Right
Okay.
here in this chair. I fell asleep for an hour. And then I went, I started listening to some stuff to collate some news for today. And then I around 8:30, I went and started kissing my beaver sweetie on the back of the neck, and then giving him a little massage, and then urging him to come to bed for a snuggle session.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't remember what happened.
See, this is the thing when you go
I
for
woke
Indian.
up at 3:30 to 2:30 in the morning, and I was still round from all the food. It's finally, it's like, when the snake eats like the whole gerbil or something.
Yeah.
It's my stomach is finally gone down.
A bunch of years ago, a group I was working with, we were working on Parliament Hill at the time in the West Block when it was still under construction, or renovation, I guess. And one of the guys I work with says, "Hey, there's this Indian buffet just over here on Laurier we should go to for lunch." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know that one. It's really good. Let's go." So we went to the all-you-can-eat Indian buffet for lunch. That was not a good decision.
Not much happened after that.
The food was amazing, but we all kind of waddled back to work.
Right.
And all just sat there staring at one another for 30 or 40 minutes before we started to function again. And even then, we were not productive. And and the boss was with us, and we all just looked at one another and went, "That was a terrible idea." We can go at the end of the day for dinner and then go home and sleep. But for lunch, not a good idea. It was not a productive day. Thank goodness it was a Thursday, and there was no deadline. But wow.
Oh man, yeah. So around 2:30 in the morning, I think I woke up because, well, let's just say I'd done my night, and I had to go to the bathroom, and he was still up, and so I gave him a bit of a massage. I massaged him basically to sleep, and then give him a little bit of a snuggle, and then got up and started my day. But when I got up and I saw him, I just looked at him and goes, "I'm so sorry."
You wake up all squint-eyed and confused.
I, so yes, the romance on Valentine's Day ended at about 3:00 yesterday afternoon. So I have an IOU. After that, it was just like
just a little bit, maybe. Yeah, yeah. I think you got it.
it's just oh boy. All right, in the news.
Got a few things. Got a few things to cover.
Right.
Something I meant to discuss this with you earlier, and I forgot to. You're familiar with the gas explosion that took place in Orleans the other day, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, everybody there were
Nobody
two people that had
died.
to go to the hospital. One person had
Yeah.
to be saved with a chainsaw under some rubble, and another person from a house. But everybody's going to survive, and 4 houses were leveled. But fortunately, they were houses under construction.
Well, it damaged some other houses nearby, but it was mostly a construction zone. But I have some drone footage here I want to share with you.
Oh, I saw the doorbell one, but yeah.
Okay, that's one. But this is much. Well, this shows all the devastation. So I'm going to share this. It's about a minute and a half, and it'll give you an idea of what actually took place. So here we go. You see the drones flying in to the local, like in the foreground is all is where the footage was taken from the explosion that was shown. Now you can see the area here that was under construction and the damage that's been done. It's pretty catastrophic. Like you could see 2 houses were completely leveled. There's nothing left. Absolute, complete devastation. Yeah, it's bad.
Amazing. Just wow.
Yeah, really bad. Really, really bad.
Oh my word.
Yeah, it's miraculous nobody was killed.
And for scale, that's a car.
Yeah, exactly. It's a van. Like, it's a van. It might even be a pickup truck. Either way, look at, you can see all the vehicles. You can see the gathering of people in the foreground there, the circle of orange vests here and yellow vests. These are firefighters. These are construction workers that are at their rally point, right? When an event like this takes place. Catastrophic is an understatement. And the fact that no one died is just amazing to me. Unbelievable that no one died. Yeah. Pretty serious business. So, that's one way to start the day, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. I'm glad no one. I mean, still 2 people with injuries, but I believe at worst they said
miraculous nobody was killed.
Serious but stable condition, I think. So, yeah.
Well, and it's construction zone, so there's all kinds of scrap materials and nails and tools and stuff just lying about on a construction zone, right? Because you're working and you just put stuff down. So there'd be all kinds of flying debris from that. So the fact that no one was killed is still mind-blowing to me, because that happened at around, was it 6:30 or 6:45? So crews would have just been arriving. A lot of crews start between, it depends on the trade. Some start at 6, most start at 7. So it could have been a full construction site at the time. So the fact that nobody died is miraculous. It really, really is.
Yeah. I believe it was early morning, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe it was around 6:30. It happened while we were on our show yesterday. That's, we had the breaking news of it, and I was able to get some better footage. But yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about it.
Jeez. Well, I'm just glad that everyone ultimately is going to be okay, because that changes the day.
Oh yeah. As Hugh says, it looks like an artillery strike, right?
It really does.
Yeah,
wow.
So, thankfully, luckily, no one died.
Yeah.
So,
we're very fortunate.
Pretty serious.
Very fortunate. Out there, I just found it here, by the way.
Oh.
I'll just share it with you here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead and blow it right up, and we'll hit play there. Yeah. So go ahead and hit the play button, and we'll see. You can see the actual the shockwave move the camera. Right?
See the lights flashing?
Yeah, yeah. And like it's crazy that no one died.
Oh boy, jeez.
What was the?
All right.
It had the time. It had the timestamp on it. Was it at 6:30 or 6:15?
6:17.
Okay, well there you go. 6:15, 6:17.
Yeah.
That was pretty close. Yeah. So there'd be crews on site at that point. Usually the foreman's on site at around 6, oftentimes, or the general. There'd be a general contractor on site because like I said, a lot of crews will start at 6 a.m. Many start at 7. So it depends on what your trade is and what your union agreement is. But yeah, 6 and 7 a.m. is when construction really ramps up, right? So the fact that 2 people were injured and nobody died is still just mind-blowing to me. Now, there'll be a massive investigation.
Oh, yes.
They'll do, cleanup investigation, figure out what went wrong, what happened. Was it negligence? Was it cost-cutting measures? Was it just a freak accident? Somebody made a mistake somewhere because those things don't just happen, right? Construction is dangerous work. I worked in it for 29 years. Thankfully, I'm no longer there, and I hope I don't ever have to go back. But I'd seen people get hurt. I'd seen a lot of injuries. Many of them were just negligence on part of the individuals involved. I've injured myself several times. I did it yesterday. Look at the back of my hand. Now, that was because I was reaching in a rack to grab something, and somebody who had worked in the rack prior to me did not cut the tie wrap correctly. With the proper cutters, which makes it a flush cut. And instead, it leaves what we call the razor blade, rack razor blades. And people who've worked in telecom know exactly what I'm talking about. You stick your hand in to grab something, and it catches the back end of a tie wrap that's super sharp, and that's what happens. That's just that's a scrape. That's nothing. But I've seen people delivering giant panes of glass, not properly trained, not using proper suction cups, not using proper in a windy environment, carrying it with carrying it with gloves, like on a corner of a giant pane of glass. They should have suction cups, right? And of course, the wind catches it; it goes flying, smash. I've seen people severely cut, ambulance rush in. I've seen vascular cuts. Anyway. It's a dangerous business.
It's a dangerous business.
And
again, no such thing as unskilled labor.
No such thing as unskilled labor.
Right.
Moving a pane of glass could be the last thing you ever do.
Yep. In the news, a couple of things. First thing you should know, the Prime Minister is not in country. He's in the Bahamas at the moment, not on trip, but for the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. So the Caribbean nations in the area. So Haiti will be a top agenda item. It's something we don't hear about often. It doesn't tend to make the news a lot. And of course, the economy is going to be top of mind as well because many of the nations have a tourism-based economy, and COVID kind of devastated that. So they haven't recovered as well as other places. Guyana and Trinidad have some oil and gas, so apparently they're doing a little better. But general rule is, the recovery hasn't been as quick over there as it has been over here. And well, of course, being island nations, lots of talk about climate change. So the Prime Minister is going to be there for a bit. Soccer, Canada soccer. Okay.
What is with national sports organizations? Hockey Canada, Canada Soccer. Come on.
Like,
get it together.
Really. Okay. And this is something going on, and I'm going to try and get our friend Devin Haru back at some point, because
I would love to get Devin back on the show to get his input.
We had Kaylee Humphreys leave, double gold medalist in bobsleigh.
Right.
I guess now she's competing for the United States. Won gold for the United States in the previous Olympics. Now has her U.S. citizenship. I mean, something made her run. And other people at Bobsleigh Canada had complained, and then there's been some news that things have improved there. But there was something there. Gymnastics Canada, ladies there have complained. We know all about Hockey Canada.
Yep.
I mean, that one doesn't need to be told. There's been stuff at Curling Canada.
Got it all. Put some black women in charge.
And now
I'm
we
serious.
have...
I'm serious when I say that, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
serious when I say that.
And now we have Canada Soccer, who, for some reason, as the men were preparing for the World Cup, scheduled friendlies with Iran, and then didn't accept Ukraine's invitation to schedule friendlies with it. And then we're screwing up major on the merchandising.
Mm-hmm. Not wanting to pay royalties to the individual whose name is selling all of the sweaters, right?
Yes. They're not using their... Apparently, they have this license with this other organization, Canadian Soccer Business, CSB. I just found that out a little bit before the show, so I don't know too much about it to comment. But there's an organization that handles all of that, and that's not Canada Soccer itself. And, well, as I was looking through things this morning, as I mentioned, the Canadian men's team in soccer, have very much come out and vocally in support of the women's national team. They put out a letter stating that, and I saw the letter this morning and I read it. And, I mean, I'm going to put it up. Nobody will be able to read it from here, but just to give you an idea. Okay. Now, this is Samuel Piquet's Twitter profile. He's a pro footballer for the Club de Football de Montréal and the Canadian men's national team. Right? So, this letter, statement from the Canada Men's National Soccer Team Players Association, it goes this long. All right. I'm going to read a couple of things from it. First of all, the Canadian men's national soccer team players are, once again, deeply disappointed by the actions of Canada Soccer and wholeheartedly support the women's national team players' statement made this afternoon about completely unsatisfactory preparation conditions for this summer's Women's World Cup. Okay. They talk about the women's and men's teams having worked diligently together to provide equal compensation and working conditions since June 2022. And they felt that Canada Soccer has completely refused or blatantly ignored our Players Association's requests for access to its financial records to back up its claims that it does not have the funds to properly operate Canada Soccer or fairly compensate the players, and demands that it explain what it has happened to millions of dollars that it should be receiving each year from sponsors and other sources. So once again, Hockey Canada, because it was a non-profit, didn't have to publicly disclose books. And then we found out they had $150 million that they were doing three-card Monte through different accounts and telling people that they didn't have any money to pay settlements. Right? Again, there's
someone's
money.
Pants are on fire.
Okay. And now remember, the women have not been paid at all yet for 2022. Yeah. And then the women say they're going... Yes.
It's 2023 right now.
Yes. They haven't been paid yet for 2022. What employer pays people like not even once a year? Like, how is this legal in any way, shape, or form? And then when the women want to take some job action, then they say, well, you're our employees, so we would consider that that's a strike, so we're going to force you back to work. And, oh, well, I guess you can't defend yourself because we haven't paid you in a year.
Yeah. Wow. It's so bad. It's so bad that guys I know who I oftentimes butt heads with over equality issues such as this, they're like, well, nobody cares about that. They're actually coming out and defending the Canadian women's national team. They're rising to their defense, saying Soccer Canada is a corrupt organization. They're saying this. I haven't done enough investigation to back that statement of claim up. Okay, so this is allegedly, this is from people saying this. And I'm like, wow, it's pretty bad when guys who are normally relatively, what's the word I'm looking for? Sexist? I don't, that's a really harsh term, but it paints the picture, right? These are fellas who normally just could care less. when it comes to women's equality issues. And they're rising in defense of women in this issue. You screwed up bad. You screwed up bad when that happens. And I've seen a lot of it over the last few days on social media, to my chagrin and surprise and delight to a certain degree, because it's coming from people I never, ever thought would rise to their defense, who are going, come on, Soccer Canada, get your shit together. It's like, wow. You know, you screwed up bad when, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Now,
it's like the other day, you know, Brian Lilly, we agreed with him.
Yep. Now, here's where it gets even more juicy, because I'm not sure this part has made the media yet. How Canada Soccer is allocating or using funds is unclear and cloaked in secrecy, despite the funding from FIFA and substantially increased sponsor and fan interest following the men's national team's qualification for and participation in the 2022 World Cup. Canada Soccer's principal revenue streams have been in large part diverted to Canada Soccer business to the benefit of the owners of for-profit minor league professional soccer teams, as reported on extensively by Wick Westhead on July 12, 2022. It has been reported that the agreement was never properly approved, and that despite having an opportunity to annul or terminate the agreement when its terms were breached by Canada Soccer business, Canada Soccer did not do so.
You know, their corporate headquarters are literally a few meters from my front door. If I look out my living room window right now, I can see their office. I walk by it every day on my way to work.
Yep.
Should we go knocking at their door?
The players continue to be confronted by this arrangement, which has included the use of national team player names, images, and likeness for commercial purposes without player consent or compensation, as you mentioned. This took place before, during, and after the World Cup, despite player demands to Canada Soccer that such activity must stop in the absence of an agreement with the players. We now know that through this financial and other mismanagement, Canada Soccer is claiming it does not have the funds necessary to provide the women's national team players the working conditions and games they need to prepare for the 2023 Women's World Cup. That is outrageous and calls for an immediate and urgent response. This is the men's team.
Yeah.
These developments come at a time when national and international excitement and support for the sport is at an all-time high. The women's national team, the reigning Olympic champions, are preparing for the 2023 Women's World Cup, and Canada is preparing to co-host the Men's World Cup in 2026. We are at a pivotal moment in time for soccer in Canada. This is a once-in-a-generation, perhaps once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grow the sport in Canada, and the current leadership of Canada Soccer is putting that opportunity at risk.
What I'm going to go with, it's an old white boys network who are doing old white boy network things and patting the pockets of each other, and to hell with the indentured servants that put the money in our pockets. It's ours. We're taking it, and you're not getting any. That's just me having an out loud thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I doubt it.
Mm-hmm. And then, the letter goes on to mention a few things and ends with, if the current leadership of Canada Soccer is not willing to take immediate action to respond to the players' demands and concerns, we ask that the Minister of Sport, the Honourable Pascal Saint-Onge, intervene to remove them, and mandate that the new Canada Soccer leadership be named and required to comply with its mandated objectives and all legal requirements as supported by federal funding. Boom.
Well, let's see what comes of this.
Now, Canada Soccer's principal revenue streams have been in large part diverted to Canada Soccer business to the benefit of the owners of for-profit minor league professional soccer teams, and how Canada Soccer is allocating or using funds is unclear and cloaked in secrecy.
I'm going to guess that the players on those minor league teams are not seeing any of that money, but the owners sure as hell are. It's not going to trickle down.
Now. Audit now.
Yeah, it's that simple.
That's no excuse. No excuse. Yeah. No excuse in 2023. No excuse.
And you got to
for
remember too that
these
the
books
women.
not being public
Well, you got to remember too the women
and
that
not
play on
pay
this
equity.
team. They're not NHL players, right? And they're not MLS players. They're not receiving tons of money and pay for the leagues they play in. Many of them are still ranked amateurs because they're in university or college. Not all of them play on club teams in Europe. So it's not like they're making a fortune. Christine Sinclair has been able to turn her remarkable international career as the most highest scoring player in the history of soccer, period. She's been able to parlay that into some ad revenue based on her name. And good for her. Good for her. She's won those accolades. If she can turn that into a revenue stream, good for her. But most of the women on that team aren't paid a king's ransom to play.
Mm-hmm.
So Soccer Canada, get your shit together, do things right, pay your employees, as you call them. Pay them.
Yeah. Just
not rocket surgery.
This is insane. All right. Other news. Let's see. What do we have here? The balloon stuff.
The balloon stuff.
It's we have a quote from Minister Anita Anand at one point saying the trajectory of the balloon involved both countries, and that's why NORAD is so important. That's why we're modernizing NORAD. That's why we're putting almost $40 billion in continental defense, because this incident highlighted again the importance of having the aerospace surveillance that is necessary to detect all threats. And when she says that, one of the things that have sort of been discovered is this situation has revealed a vulnerability in our system, in that our radars that we were using were not calibrated to capture these types of objects. The balloon, yeah, we caught it big enough, but 3 smaller ones, right? Because they did not appear they appeared to be propelled by wind, whereas the balloon appeared to be maneuverable.
Okay.
And they were smaller, and they were flying at 3 different heights. One was apparently at 20,000, 40,000. Another one's at 60,000. They're saying now that they're pretty sure that it is not intelligence, but that probably for commercial use and was benign. But the radars were calibrated that they could not pick up these types of things. So there's a new concern emerging about the repurposing of old technologies to get around more modern ones. Right? So these types of things can get past radar. People are asking, like, why a balloon rather than a satellite? Well, a satellite keeps on moving. Right? A balloon that's maneuverable can hover over someplace for a while.
A longer time period,
Because satellites all moving, it's, for picking up communications, for example, if you have a balloon outfitted with communications technology to pick up signals, I guess, and it can hover, well, there's that. And, a balloon an object like this can be designed to release a payload.
Yes, it can. Yep.
Right. So these are they truly are threats, and we have to be careful because of it. Now, the crash sites, it appears, where these things fell, is what's making it difficult in terms of recovery. The one, there's one in Alaska, and apparently where it is, it's
mountainous forest region or something like that.
No, well, that's the one in the Yukon. It's in a very remote area with, very, very brutal terrain, and it's February.
So it's not a simple day hike in there, is what you're saying.
Right. And even the one over Lake Michigan, they were having trouble because the waters were particularly choppy. All the wind. So the recovery things are going to take a bit, but they seem to know enough to say with confidence publicly that the latter three were benign, but they still want to figure out what it is. Now, China, it seems, is under the impression that they have the right to get the balloon back with the monitoring things.
No, that's not going to happen. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. Old Randers went off on this one. If NATO, USA, Canada had retained their Judeo-Christian culture and morals, the world would not be on the precipice of World War III. Children wouldn't be mutilated, COVID never would have happened, and there would be no balloons or UFOs invading us. Randy getting into the beer early yesterday? Disgraced former MPP Randy Hillier? We've lost your audio, sir. You've got no audio. Yeah. Somehow
Sorry,
you went.
I had pushed the cough button.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There we go. A gentleman named John Kirby, whose position I cannot remember at the moment, but on the U.S. side, has said one of the reasons that we think we're seeing more is because we're looking for more. They have modified the filters and gains, as we call it, of the radar capabilities to look more discreetly at high altitude, small radar cross-section, and low-speed objects. So after the balloon, they did that. And that's how we spotted the other three. So depending what these other three are, we might find out how common it is that these things are and just realize that all this time somebody could have done something in that way and we had no clue because we were only looking for the big things.
Right.
And so when we
weren't looking for the needle in the haystack.
Yeah. So when we were talking the other day, if these three things are not corporate and if these things were foreign, like this, are we probing the system to see, where there's a vulnerability? Well, there would have been one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, cringe. Cringe. John Kirby, spokesperson at the Pentagon White House. Thank you very much, Bruce. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Other news that you may want to be aware of with regards to the economy. More than 150,000 jobs were created in January, which is greater than 10 times what economists were expecting. All told, 326,000 jobs have been added since the end of the summer, which brings the unemployment rate to 5%, just above 4.9%, which was the low, our record low. They're broad-based, good jobs. The number of hours worked are up. Apparently, wages are up 4.5% year over year, so still lower than the inflation rate. But the wage increase rate seems to be holding as the inflation rate is decreasing. So hopefully, at some point, they'll meet, or maybe
one can
wage
hope.
Increase one will surpass for a little bit. So you maybe be able to regain a little bit, claw back a bit. Although that's wishful thinking. It probably doesn't work that way. Most of the jobs were created in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. And if you're anywhere on social media, you'll be seeing the governments of Ontario and Alberta really crowing about all the jobs that they created with no help from nobody else.
No, had nothing to do with anybody but just Daniel Smith in Alberta. They did it all on their own.
Yep. Nobody from any
else.
other place in Canada buying their products, and no help from any other levels of government. Just
no. Complete isolationism is what did it for them. That's what it was.
Yep. Just like they're putting $10 billion into childcare.
Yeah.
They are investing record amounts. Oh, this is one, kids, for the media literacy thing. When you hear the premiers talk about investing record amounts in healthcare, if I invest if this year it was the most we've ever invested in raw dollars, not per capita, but just raw dollars, and I invest $1 more the next year, that's unprecedented amounts.
Yeah. It's because you've set a new precedent. $1.
Okay? That's historic levels. That's spin.
Pretty good spin.
That's actual spin doctoring. That's not lying.
It's telling the
Spin
truth. It just sounds bigger than it is, right? It's going to be huge. It's huge. It's going to be the hugest thing you've ever seen. It's huger than China. That's my Trump. And speaking of Mr. Style going on about Rhianna.
Yeah.
Epic fail. Rihanna gave, without question, the single worst halftime show in Super Bowl history. This after insulting more than half of our nation, which is already in serious decline, with her foul and insulting language. Also, so much for her stylist. Look, the Orange Menace does not get to make a single comment about style on any human being anywhere on the planet.
Well, is that Trader Tot, though?
Yeah, Donald J. Trump, former president, the TFG.
Whoa. Oh, sorry. Put it back up. I misread it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
He doesn't get to make a comment on style, number one. Number two, you know why he says this? A, because he's a racist piece of shit. And Rihanna's an actual billionaire, and he isn't. He's jealous.
Well, also, right? She's black.
Yeah.
She's female.
A black female billionaire who was performing while pregnant.
Yes.
By the way.
And for 13 minutes had the attention of the entire world on her.
Mm-hmm. And he couldn't deal with it. According to many, though, it was a satanic tribute because she was dressed in red, and her belt buckle was a pentagram. First off, it wasn't a pentagram. It wasn't a belt buckle. It was her safety harness, which you can clearly see, which she has to wear when on a platform because she's at work.
And pregnant.
The spinning, the mental gymnastics these folks create to find a new satanic panic where there isn't one is just beyond belief.
Sam Smith also, right, at the Grammys?
Yeah,
because he had the little hat there with the thing there.
Get over yourselves, people.
Of course, he also did it first by daring to. I mean, he's gender fluid himself, and then he dared to perform on stage with the first transgender person
right,
the Grammys and actually win a Grammy. So, yeah, I mean, think of the children.
Well, and those same group of people are dumping all over Harry Styles, right? Because Harry always wears, whatever type of clothing, and they're like, "Well, look at this. This is what happened to masculinity." And they're like, "Here's Mick Jagger. Here's David Bowie. Here's
Boy George."
Well, goes without saying, right? And Robert Plant.
Poison.
Basically, every 70s, 80s rock star there ever was.
That Poison record album.
Oh my God!
That one with the four there, where at first
they're dating
their women.
Yeah.
Oh man! Some people,
Look What the Cat Dragged In is the name of the record.
Yes. Yes.
And come on,
yeah. No. I know. Moaner's gonna moan, whiner's gonna whine.
They reach so hard. And fail so damn often.
I love that. I love that so much. They reach so hard. It's like, oh, poodle. Oh, you don't even get A for effort.
No.
So sad.
Here, I've got the cover. I'll bring it up in a sec here. I'm just clicking.
All right.
So we can all have a view for those who've never seen it.
While you do that, I'm going... Oops. What the heck? I'm having issues.
It happens.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. Yep.
Things are crashing on you, are they?
I've lost stuff. There we go. Okay. Because we got to wrap up soon.
So this was released in 1986. This was the album cover of Hard Rockers Poison. They're all making kissy face. They all have copious amounts of makeup on. But, Harry Styles is going to send us to hell because he wears flamboyant clothing.
Love it. All right. Before we go, we have a little bit of Canadians who make us proud. At the PGA Tour, the Phoenix Open, Nick Taylor finished second after the 4 rounds, and Adam Hadwin finished 10th. So our golfers just tearing it up. And at the World Alpine Ski Championships, we were shut out from 2021 and 2019. And Canadian skiers this time around have already won 3 medals at the halfway point at the Worlds in Courchevel-Méribel. So we talked about Jack Crawford winning a Super G Gold last week. Well, in the past few days, 25-year-old Cam Alexander got a bronze in the downhill, which is his first ever race at a World's Championships. He gets his bronze. And Crawford snagged another top 10, finishing 5th. Cameron Alexander, you heard his name before because we mentioned him on the show, because about 3 weeks ago, he picked up a 6th place that we had mentioned. And now he's followed that up with bronze. So it at the Worlds. So it was not a fluke. During that race, Jeffrey Reed also took 30th. So top 30 get points. So that's important. But Brody Seeger, unfortunately, was flown to hospital after an awkward landing on a jump. So we hope he's okay. This means everything. Beaming Alexander told Alpine Canada, "I'm very, very happy. It's the greatest feeling in the world. The guys here are so fast. I knew that I had to bring my best skiing and to push all the way down. I was talking to myself towards the end, making sure that I kept pushing." And Crawford said that he was not surprised at all with Alexander's performance. And then we picked up a bronze in the team parallel event. So that features teams of 2 men and 2 women with 4 runs of parallel racing in each round. And the Canadian team is comprised of Valerie Grenier, who we've talked about before, Jeffrey Reed, Britt Richardson, and Eric Reed. So 3 medals and time to go. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode. We hope that you loved it because we love making it for you. Remember, sharing is caring, so let people know about us. And because democracy is something that you do, if you can donate to the Red Cross to help in Turkey and Syria, that would be great. Just go to the Red Cross page and, be a good global citizen if you have the time, the ability, or the inclination, or any combination of them. We love to hear from you. Please reach us on Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, on Twitter at True Eager, or by email, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And you can subscribe to us at podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, with all those in lowercase letters with a hyphen between each word, in order to get to subscribe and have us come to you as soon as we have something done. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. We need to get to 1,000. So if you can help, that would be great. We can't do this without your support. You saw Mr. Grizzly pointing up above him, and that's that little QR code. If you're watching, if you scan that, you should be able to find our tip jar. And if you're listening, our tip jar is at ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters. So please go there and help us out if you can. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And finally, we've got the merch. We got Mr. Grizzly Civics tees and Eager Beaver tees in the styles and colors and everything that you love. So get yours from sizes small to 3XL at crier.co/crier-media-shop, and then just click everything to get to True North Eager Beaver, or click at the link that Mr. Grizzly is going to put up in the chat here if you're watching live. Then that's where you go to get yourself some fabulous. Because, well, you know what? Even though it's after Valentine's Day, you still need some romantic energy. So wear a shirt, feel sexy. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids. It can be a tough world out there, so be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom?
Don't worry. Be happy. That's all I got today. Just trying to work on my mental health. So really, just don't worry. Be happy. This too shall pass.
Mr. Grizzly, rolling credits.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, The Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.